It's a green plant with berries that looks harmless, but it's taking over our woodlands at an alarming rate. Buckthorn was used in landscaping, but it's no longer commercially available. Why is this plant so invasive, and what efforts are underway to remove it? We find out more from the Coon Rapids City Forester. I'm here now with City Forester Tom Shabilla. Tom, thanks for being here today.
Welcome.
Let's talk first of all why buckthorn has become a problem.
Okay, well, buckthorn is an invasive exotic species, and it's a shrub that can, if left growing, it turns into a larger tree, and it will invade and not allow any of the good native trees and shrubs to grow and kind of cycle through it. It just interrupts the whole ecosystem and degrades the wildlife habitat, and like I said, doesn't allow for any of the good native vegetation to come up and cycle through in a natural, healthy forest setting.
So we're in a wooded setting here along Erlinson Trail, and show us what is buckthorn species here in the wooded area.
Well, basically we're surrounded by buckthorn where we are right now. All of these little sprouts, all the way down to several inches tall, and as it matures it gets bigger, and we're pretty much everything that we see green in here is buckthorn, and as it matures it can turn into more of a larger tree. And like these main stem trees right in here, these are the trees then that produce the berries, and with the abundance of berries on them, that's what then spreads the buckthorn too, is all of the berries dropping off into the soil and then resprouting.
Now, is this a plant you will only find in a wooded area like this, or is this on private property in someone's yard?
This originated on private property. Buckthorn used to be sold as an ornamental shrub for home landscapes. But it has escaped that out into the wooded areas now, and this is when it has become a problem. It has invaded the wooded areas. Because
of the birds carrying the berries?
Yep, the birds would feed on the berries and pass the berries out into the wild, and then that's how the new buckthorn gets established.
What is the city doing to try to combat this invasive species?
Okay, well, we are actively cutting buckthorn out in certain sections of the city. We use our sentence to serve crews, prisoner workforce crews, to help us eradicate the buckthorn by cutting it, pulling it out, and using chemical controls to spray the stump and to spray the small sprouts and to just knock it down the best we can.
But are you looking for homeowners to also kind of pitch in here and try to remove some of this from their properties if they have it?
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage folks on private property, residents, to try to eradicate the buckthorn on their own property. One program that the city has is if people can get the buckthorn off of their property out to the curb, then the city will pick up the buckthorn at no charge.
Okay, so that's one great way to remove it.
Yep.
Let's show people what they should do to actually remove this plant from their areas.
Well, buckthorn is easily identified in the fall, basically October through November, because it is one of the only plants that remains green all fall long. And when it's in a small seedling form like this, it's relatively easy just to pull by hand. It's a shallow-rooted plant, so it really comes up easy. With just a couple little tugs, it really comes out easy. The stump and the roots and all. So
just a lot of work by hand just to pull those all up by the root.
Yep, but it's really effective in the sense that you are eradicating the whole root, and the whole plant it is gone once you pull it all out.
For larger buckthorn plants, residents can use a weed wrench for removal. The tools are available for use free of charge from the city forester.
And what it does, it cinches onto the main stem of the plant, and it uses a fulcrum, the leverage, to kind of pull the whole root out and everything. And again, once the root is gone, that particular buckthorn plant is done with. And it's, as you can see, it's real labor intense way to do buckthorn control. But like I say, once it's pulled out with the root and everything, it's a done deal.
So this tool is helpful for plants that are a little more established. They're not small like the other ones we saw where you were just easily pulling it out of the ground. You need a little extra help.
Yep.
Getting that out.
Yep, and that's when the weed wrench comes in, when you have about the half of inch to 1 inch diameter plants. That's where the weed wrench is a real effective tool in pulling.
Now tell us what someone would do to take down a really large tree, a buckthorn tree.
Yeah, if left to mature, the buckthorn will turn into basically a small tree. And when it gets to be this size and larger, pulling obviously isn't going to work, and the weed wrenches do not work also. So we need to rely on chainsaws to cutting the larger stemmed buckthorns down. And once we cut them down, we need to apply chemical herbicide on these stumps because they will just sprout right back, and then you'll have 10 stems versus 1 stem of buckthorn. So chemical control is vital when you're doing the cut method, because you'll need to spray them stumps. Garlon 3A is the chemical we are using here today, and in it we put in a blue dye, so when we're working in the large scale woods we know which stumps have been sprayed already, and kind of keep track on where our progress is on the spraying.
So now we've taken a look at what people can do to remove this and what the city's doing to remove this, but this is really an ongoing effort, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah, it's not a one-shot deal. It definitely takes years of monitoring, looking for sprouts that didn't get treated with chemical that do sprout up still. The new berries that were released in the process of removing the buckthorn that are now in the soil and sprouting up. So it's definitely an ongoing project. It's not a one-time deal and we're done. And so it's definitely take years before you can really get a handle on a certain area of buckthorn infested woods.
Well, thanks for showing us all of this today. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, if you're interested in using one of the city's weed wrenches, you can contact Tom Shabilla at 763-767-6455 or at the email address on your screen. These tools are free of charge for residents to use.